This is a chemistry video and we are looking at particular features of water, and those features are whether the water is hard or soft. Now, soft water is supplied to certain parts of the country and other parts of the country have hard water, and one of the easy ways of telling whether the water is soft or hard is looking at whether it produces a lather with soap. So if you take a tiny bit of soap and you have soft water, a small amount of soap will create quite a rich lather with the soap, whereas hard water, it won't do that. It won't create the lather very easily at all. In actual fact, it produces this substance called scum, which we'll talk about in a minute. But firstly, how does water actually get hard? Well, it contains dissolved compounds, and those are magnesium and calcium compounds. Those compounds are picked up when the water flows through rivers and streams, and it flows over certain types of rock which contain these compounds, and these compounds dissolve in the water from the rock and actually then get carried into reservoirs and find their way into our drinking water. So if I was to look at this little magnified bit there and just see what was going on inside there, we would see that we've got magnesium compounds and calcium compounds, and it's the ions that are made from these compounds, the calcium ions and the magnesium ions. These are the two ions that make water hard and make it create this stuff called scum and this stuff called scale. So let's have a look at scum first. This is formed when we have a reaction with soap. The calcium ions in the soap will react with the water, the hard water, and produce this substance called scum. This scum is actually just an insoluble precipitate, and it's a little bit pasty perhaps, but you have to react all the calcium that's in the water that you have with the soap before the soap can actually make a lather. So actually it ends up producing you have more soap needed, and it actually ends up costing more money because you have to buy more soap over the long run. The actual reaction that we have is sodium stearate, which will react with the calcium ions in the water. The soap is the sodium stearate, and that will end up producing this substance called calcium stearate, and this is the substance that we call scum, plus some sodium ions that will be in the water as well. This is not an equation or a formula that you need to know and remember, but it might be something that you might come across and see, and it's a good idea if you can understand it. Now, the other problem that's caused by this substance called scum is that if we use it in washing powder, this will stick to the clothes, and it's not actually a pleasant thing to have stuck to the clothes. So what manufacturers have done is produce a substance called soapless detergent, and that's just washing chemicals. Can't spell today. Detergent, and that's a chemical that doesn't contain this substance called sodium stearate, and therefore won't react with the calcium ions, and you won't get the scum formed. Now, another problem that we can have also with hard water and these ions that are present is the presence of this insoluble solid called scale. And what scale does is it actually reduces the efficiency of the appliances in the home. So one common example is that of a kettle. So if you're looking at a kettle from above and the lid is open, you can see there's the heating element, and the problem that happens is that the water, when it's boiled, produces scale, and this scale will coat or cover the heating element. And because scale is a bad conductor of heat, it will make the kettle less efficient, and the kettle has to work harder in order to heat the water, and obviously costing more energy wise. Now, this is a sort of overview of what hard water is all about, but it's not all bad news, because it does have some benefits as well. The calcium ions that are in the water are good for bone development and bone maintenance. That keeps the bones nice and hard as they grow, or keeps them hard throughout your lifetime. And it's also good for teeth development as well. So youngsters growing up with obviously growing up, the calcium ions will be good for bones and teeth, and there's also a link to reduction in heart disease as well. So there are benefits to it as well. There are no detrimental effects really to health. So we do put up with it, but there are these problems that can be caused by hard water. One last thing that I want to cover really about hard water is that it can be either temporary hard water or permanent hard water. And temporary hard water, because of the kind of substances dissolved in it, the calcium compounds that are dissolved, it can be softened by heating or boiling. In other words, the calcium ions can be removed and the water becomes soft, and that's done by heating or boiling it. But we also have permanent hard water, and the calcium compounds are slightly different, and they won't actually come out of the water when you heat it. So the water remains hard even when it's heated or boiled. So that's permanent hard water, and that's temporary hard water. Either way, if we have temporary or permanent hard water, we can make it soft using various methods, and we'll look at that in another video. But for now, really, this is an overview of the topic. This is quite a densely packed page of information. That's just disappeared there. It's a densely packed page of information, so it might be worth looking over once or twice. But other than that, that's me done. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.